I just bought a ticket on every airline in America because from a $10 seat, to a $1,000 economy ticket, prices vary drastically, which makes me wonder which one's most worth it. Well, to find out, I have 3 rules. Rule number 1, find the same seat of 23A on every airline in America. Rule number 2, rate the pre-flight experience, comfort of the seat, the food, and the service. And rule number 3, in each city I land, try its best food. Since joining me is my girlfriend Lucille, and since she's French, she's never had things like a burger from In-N-Out, real Texas barbecue, or even a funnel cake. So anyway, let's head to the airport and board our first flight of Frontier, where tickets start at just $10. And in terms of the pre-flight experience, that was surprisingly efficient. Like, there was no delays, with all announcements being made on time, no surprise fees, and the boarding process was super chill. But anyway, let's get on board and check out the comfort of the seat. Which, first impressions, this seat, obviously, it's a bit tight, but honestly, just looking around this cabin, I'm pretty impressed. With this cabin looking pretty new, with the seats being in a 3x3 configuration, and with the plane being an A321, and having also a pretty fun design with, on the tail, having a bird. Now, in terms of the seat itself, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty bare bones. There's obviously no entertainment screen, and there's no seat recline, with the seat padding being minimal at best. And for the legroom, it's not much better, with having 9 inches of knee room, which is basically just enough for me to fit in the seat, then 28 inches of pitch between the seat in front of you and the end of your seat, and 18 inches of shoulder room, or maybe 19 or 20 if you take the armrest.
If you're in the middle, you get both armrests.
Not 19 or 20, 18. But overall, for the price of this seat, I'm not complaining. Sure, it's bare bones, but it gets the job done. But as we push back 8 minutes ahead of schedule, thanks to the amazing ground crew, we're taking off from New York City going to Atlanta. And first things first, I'm super interested to try the food on Frontier, with all food and drinks being for purchase, which we decided to go with a cheese platter here. And along with the cheese tray here, we have one of their hot meals of the vegetable ramen, with the ramen having absolutely no taste. And with the cheese being, I'll leave it up to the French person. What do you think of this cheese tray?
It's fine.
So anyway, this is probably a 4 out of 10. And with Frontier, honestly surprising me thus far. However, that's before the hardest section of them all, of the Wheel of Truth. Anyway, if you're new here, the Wheel of Truth is how I test service in the sky. So anyway, let's give this thing a spin and see what we're testing them on. Holy crap, and with Frontier landing on one of the most difficult tests for an economy seat, of the call button test, which tests how fast the crew comes when I press the call button. And I've never done this test on a budget airline before, so this should be fairly interesting. So anyway, here's the grading rubric, and let's press the call button and see how fast they come. Hi, could I have another coffee? Thank you. That was insane.
It's faster than that one first class you did.
I'm honestly shocked. The crew's been absolutely amazing. I have no idea why Frontier gets the bad rep that they do. This is a 10 out of 10. And as we land in Atlanta, I gotta say, I'm impressed. As a reminder, it should be all up from here, with this being the cheapest seat we'll be taking during this adventure. But in Atlanta, I took Lucille to eat the best soul food that was celebrating being in business for 80 years of Mary Mac's Tea Room. And I think it's safe to say she enjoyed it quite a lot. But after exploring Atlanta for the day, we're back at the airport for price level number 2 of Spirit, where our tickets costed $50 each. And in terms of the pre-flight experience, I'm not gonna lie, it was ridiculously chaotic, with there being no groups called, so people just started forming more of a mosh pit than a line, with no one really knowing where the start or end of the line was. But that said, we weren't delayed at all, and we incurred no bag fees, even though my bag was definitely larger than the bag checker. So overall, not a bad pre-flight experience, but definitely chaotic. And unlike Frontier, Spirit offers a pretty unique seating configuration, with having what they call their first class at the front being in a 2x2 configuration, and then with the rest of the flight being your typical 3x3 configuration. And first impressions of this seat, even though this ticket costs more than double than the last, it feels even more bare bones, with having this little paper holder above your seat that has the airplane information, but you can't really fit anything else. Then the smallest tray table I've ever seen, not even being the size of my hand. Now in terms of the seat measurements, they're bit weird, with the knee room being 2 inches more than Frontier's at 11 inches, the shoulder room being the same at 18 inches, but then the pitch being less at 27 inches. However, in terms of the entertainment, Spirit actually has something. They offer Wi-Fi, which surprisingly has enough strength to stream movies. So because of that and only that, I think I have to give Spirit like a 5 out of 10. But as we take off from Atlanta going to Orlando, let's check out the food Spirit offers on board, having no free snacks and everything for purchase, where we went with their biggest snack box called simply the Snacky Box, which is 5 different types of snacks inside. Have you ever had Cheez-Its before?
No.
What? Oh, this is gonna be fun. Lucille's first Cheez-It.
The delight of the senses.
A delight to the senses!
So in terms of food, it wasn't bad. I just would have loved to see more of a variety on board. But as we enter the toughest section, the 2 cheapest airlines are locked into an absolute battle, with it all coming down to
The wheel of truth.
to do this on a budget airline is just... We're pretty close together. People are laughing around me. Anyway, let's give this thing a spin and see what we're testing Spirit on. Oh my gosh, and with Spirit landing on, without a doubt, the most unpredictable test possible of the temperature test. You see, cabin temperature is actually quite easy to control, but since it's up to the crew that does a million things during the flight, it sometimes fluctuates dramatically, and it can swing out of the recommended range. So with my ultra-scientific thermometer reader here, we're gonna test the temperature of the airplane with this grading scale. So let's turn this thing on right now. And let's see. Whoa. Okay, with it being a full 4 degrees outside of the recommended temperature, which means as we land in Orlando, although Spirit's flight was better than I expected, Frontier is still in the lead. But anyway, in Orlando, I took Lucille to eat her first ever Taco Bell. And Lucille, this is your first time ever eating Taco Bell, correct?
Yes. Is there like a tortilla in the
Yes,
tortilla?
that's why it's called a Crunch Wrap Supreme.
What's crunchy about
The
it?
crunchy taco inside
Okay.
in a wrap. No, you can't take it open. You gotta eat it all as one.
At once.
Lucille's first ever Taco Bell bite.
It tastes like I'm gonna have some digestive issues later. That's all I have to say.
Anyway, after crushing some more Taco Bell, we're back at the airport for price level number 3 of the $100 seat on Allegiant, which the pre-flight experience was by far the roughest we've had thus far, with their app not working, so we were charged $5 each to have our boarding passes printed by Allegiant. But that said, we were luckily not delayed. But anyway, I welcome you to Allegiant's A320. And I'm not gonna lie, compared to Spirit's, this looks a little bit rougher, with having these dark blue seats with most of them having ripped fabric, having a little bit of dirt on the window shade, there being officially the smallest table on an airplane. Now, in terms of the seat itself, I didn't even think this was possible, but there's even less padding than Spirit's. Like when I went to squeeze the headrest, there was nothing to squeeze, so I just knocked on it. It felt like I was like knocking on a metal plate or something. With the knee room also being super small at 9.5, the shoulder room being the smallest we've seen at 17, and the pitch at just 24. So yeah, I'd say probably the worst comfort of the seat rating we've gotten so far at 3 out of 10. But as we take off from Orlando going to Nashville, many say the food is actually better on Allegiant compared to other budget airlines. There being a menu here that, dare I say, has options on it that are a bit fancy, and we decided to go with the wine and charcuterie board combo. And honestly, I've never seen anything like this on a budget airline before.
They definitely win on the snacks.
So I'm gonna go like a 7 out of 10 for the food. So it's honestly been an up and down experience on Allegiant thus far, which makes me pretty scared for them for
The wheel of truth.
Okay, let's give this thing a spin. Holy crap, and with Allegiant landing on the 1-star review test, where I take a real 1-star review and see if it's true or false. So with that said, Charity says, literally worst airline. Flight attendants are rude, planes are dirty, trash in seat pockets, and I had a spider land on me mid-flight. Disgusting. That was like, I think 4 different things she shouted out there. So what I'm gonna do here is test each and every one of Charity's claims to see if it's true or false. If it's true, I'll award 0 points, and if it's false, 2.5 points. So Charity's first claim is that the flight attendants are rude. So the next time they come by, I'm gonna ask them for something and see if that's the case.
Yeah, can I actually have a ice? Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Ice with rice.
I just want.
asking for a cup of ice and there being not much context, and she was super nice about it. So this is definitely a false statement. The crew has been amazing the entire flight. Now, in terms of Charity's second claim of the plane being dirty, let's take a look around. Oh man, and I didn't even notice this when we got on the plane, but there is just crumbs and trash literally all over the floors, with also her claim of there being trash in the seat back pocket also being true. Now, in terms of Charity's last claim of a spider landing on her, I mean, it's mid-flight right now, but nothing has landed on me yet. So with Charity's one-story view actually having more truth to it than I thought. So as we land in Nashville, this was certainly a turbulent experience, and no pun intended. But anyway, here in Nashville, I took Lucille to eat her first ever hot chicken, and after finishing it off with some Tennessee whiskey and enjoying the night, we're back at the airport for price level number 4 of Southwest, where our ticket costed $150 a person. And I'm always just so impressed by the ground crew. Like right when the plane came in, the ground crew were working together to bring the plane in as fast as possible, and then like instantly the jet bridge was attached, the snack truck was attached, and the bags started flying off board. I'm very grateful for you guys.
Such a crazy and precise operation, and I'm so surprised we haven't been delayed yet.
And we officially have our first delay. And I love how they don't even brand it as being delayed now. They just say now at. So start the delay timer down here, and let's see how long this goes for. Update, we're actually 1 hour delayed. Kind of an update. Lucille went up to the counter and asked them what was going on. And what did they say?
We'll have more updates at 2, but it could be just delayed or canceled as well.
Canceled?
Yeah.
But after another 45 minutes of waiting at the Nashville airport, which by the way has live music, we're finally boarding. And Southwest does things a little bit differently since there's no assigned seats, with instead you getting a letter and number combination from A to C and 1 to 60, which luckily I had an A spot, so I was able to grab seats 23A and B, but still this was probably the worst pre-flight experience we've had, with not only the flight being delayed, but there being hardly any communication. So with Lucille still not on board yet, I welcome you to our seat here where I've secured 23A and B hopefully. And compared to the last 3 airlines, this honestly feels like first class, with the seat having a full-size seat back pocket and tray table, the seat being able to recline and even having an adjustable headrest. Like, where are we right now? The world's best first class or economy? You know what I'm saying? The knee room is also the largest we've seen yet at 12 inches, with a whopping 32 inches of pitch and 18 inches of shoulder room. There's no TV on the seat rest in front of you. However, Southwest does offer free movie options when using your phone. So as Lucille finally arrives on board, as she was in the C group, I gotta say this was a huge upgrade and at least a 7 out of 10 for comfort. And now finally taking off after 3 hours of delay from Nashville going all the way to Dallas, the food also keeps showing us that next level nature, with this being the first airline to offer both a free snack and drink. And although it's awesome that they offer a free snack and free drink, they don't offer any other food for purchase. So I'm not gonna lie, with the price increase, I would have liked to see other options on board, which puts Southwest in an interesting position before the hardest test of them all of the Wheel of Truth. Let's see what the Wheel of Truth has to say. Oh man, and with the Wheel of Truth showing no mercy to Southwest with landing on the bathroom test, which is possibly the worst test to land on in an economy class seat. As on US domestic economy, there's no set cleaning schedules, so that bathroom could either be absolutely disgusting or somewhat clean. Okay, so I welcome you guys to the Southwest bathroom. Yes, I'm sitting on the toilet, which first impressions, this bathroom is honestly freaking me out a little bit with the light over here flickering like a scary movie. But with that said, other than that, I mean, it's an economy class bathroom that looks honestly decently clean, especially seeing that this is midway through the flight. But the flickering light definitely brings us down to, I'd say, like a 6 out of 10. So as we land in Dallas, Frontier is surprisingly still on top. And in Dallas, I took Lucille to her first ever state fair, where we ate a funnel cake, corn dog, and even fried butter, all while watching a rodeo. Anyway, now we're back at the airport for price level number 5 of JetBlue, with tickets costing $200. Which compared to Southwest, that pre-flight experience was amazing. And that was even with the delay. Like, even though we were delayed an hour, JetBlue communicated the delay to us 6 hours before our flight via an app notification. So we had more time to eat some incredible Texas barbecue instead of waiting at the airport. So with everything else being super well managed, this gets a solid pre-flight score. But as we take off from Dallas going to Boston, welcome on board JetBlue's A220-300, which the plane has a super unique vibe, having the super blue color and being in a 2x3 configuration, with 23A and 23B having its own row here. So with me now being in the aisle and Lucille being on the window seat, which is absolutely amazing, and the seat itself is the best we've seen yet. Having our first seat back screen with movies, TV shows, and even live TV, a power plug, and also free Wi-Fi, which is pretty impressive because even some first classes don't even offer free Wi-Fi. Like, what are we flying right now? With also the space of the seat being enormous, being a whopping 12 inches of knee room, 32 inches of pitch, and 20 inches of shoulder room, which are the top measurements we've had in every category thus far. So yeah, needless to say, this gets the highest score we've seen for comfort of the seat of an 8 out of 10. However, probably the thing that showcases JetBlue's next level nature the best are the food and drink offerings, with having a bunch of different free drinks to choose from, where with each option you get the entire can, and with not just having one free snack, but multiple different options. And with on top of that, them offering food for purchase, with us going with the absolutely monstrous ham and cheese croissant. Just look at this thing. Is this bigger than the ones in Paris?
It's Texas sized.
And with Lucille going with the faro salad bowl.
This looks really good. I thought we reached the top with the snacks before, but this looks amazing.
Yeah, significantly better than Southwest, and pretty much for the same price too. And although JetBlue has absolutely been blowing away the competition thus far, no airline is immune from
The wheel of truth.
I got a bit too serious there, like no airline is immune from this wheel. Anyway, let's give this a spin and see what we're testing JetBlue on. And with JetBlue landing on the extra snack test, which although JetBlue has absolutely amazing free snacks, typically in economy class, all airlines will limit passengers to one snack. So anyway, I'm gonna go ask the crew to see if I can get an extra snack, and let's see what they say. No promises here.
Is it possible to have another snack?
Anything is possible.
Anything's possible? Okay.
Okay, and you know you're in a good economy seat when the flight attendant says anything is possible, with us getting every one of the snacks that they offer on board.
I've never eaten so much on an economy flight.
It's so freaking cool. So this is by far the best economy flight I think I've ever taken. But anyway, as we land in Boston, this means JetBlue has officially taken the resounding lead. But in Boston, I took Lucille to eat her first ever lobster roll, and after walking around stumbling upon Harvard, we're back at the airport for price level number 6 of United, where tickets cost up to $250. And our next flight for level 6 is unfortunately delayed. And while we wait, I've been planning what to do with Lucille in our next destination. And I found some amazing things on Klook, which has honestly been my go-to travel booking site for this year. From everything from hotels to tours and experiences. Like for example, just on this trip alone, I've used them probably 5 different times. For example, while we were in New York, we used their New York travel pass to book the museum featured in Night at the Museum, and even Wicked, because the more experiences you book on the pass, the better deal you get. So a huge thank you to Klook for being a long-term partner of the channel, and if you want to try them out, click the link in the description box below, and be sure to use my code to get 10% off your next booking. Anyway, I believe we're boarding now, so let's go check out what level 6 of the $250 ticket is actually like. Which boarding on United was pretty solid, other than that brief delay of course, with things being super clear and well organized, so this gets a solid pre-flight score. But anyway, as we take off from Boston going to my hometown of Chicago, welcome on board United's new A321neo, with this one having its first flight in November of 2024. And that new vibe is seen throughout the cabin, having an absolutely beautiful interior, having a 2x2 configuration in first class, and then a standard 3x3 configuration in economy, with the seats having an absolutely massive TV for economy, having the TV take up pretty much the entire seat back, with having both a USB and UBC plug, a nice tray table, and a solid legroom at 10.5 inches, a pitch of 30 inches, and a shoulder room of 19. So in terms of the comfort of the seat, it's solid, but to be honest, for the price point, I think it should be a little bit better. But in terms of the food United offers, it's honestly surprising. With of course having a free drink offered where you get the entire can again, but also a pretty amazing snack selection, with me going with the Stroop waffle and Lucille the dark chocolate sea salt quinoa crisps, being without a doubt the best complimentary snack selection we've seen thus far. But what really takes United's food selection to another level is their bistro on board, as they offer the best variety we've seen on a menu yet, having breakfast and lunch options, with us going with what they call their ultimate cheeseburger, which it honestly looks pretty good. So let's give this thing a taste. Of course, this burger is not the greatest one you'll have, but to get this level of quality, which I'd say is like a mid above average burger, and I'd say it's pretty impressive. So from the free drinks to the snacks to the frickin' burger, this has been by far the best section for food, which means we're locked into an absolute battle with JetBlue and having it all come down to the wheel of truth, which United should be pretty scared of, because according to the reviews online, their service, let's just say, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Anyway, let's give this wheel a spin. The wheel of truth has spoken, and we have landed on the bathroom test. So anyway, let's head to the bathroom and see how United's bathroom is. Okay, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the United bathroom. And first impressions, I'm impressed. Like, everything in here is spotless clean, even though this is midway through the flight. And also on top of that, the light's having this super cool blue tint. Now, upon further inspection, it is a tiny bit messy, but overall, this bathroom is super modern, sleek, and clean. Definitely not perfect, but I'd say an above average rating, which means JetBlue sneaks by with keeping the lead. But as we land in my hometown of Chicago, I took Lucille to one of my favorite places on earth, of my 97-year-old Nana's house, who stayed up late last night to make not one, but 3 different pies.
One little piece of each?
Yes. Nana, how long have you been making pies for?
Oh my gosh. Forever. There you go.
Wow.
One of each.
And after eating the best pie in the world and hanging out with Nana, we're back at the airport for price level number 7 of Alaska Airlines, with prices being $300 a ticket. And that was by far the messiest, craziest boarding and pre-flight experience we've had thus far. With the flight being delayed a full 2 hours since the day before, Alaska Airlines had one of the largest tech outages in airline history. But the worst thing was when boarding, there was a literal mosh pit of people trying to get on board, as there was no clear announcements made. So with the exception of no hidden fees, this was by far the worst pre-flight experience we've had. But anyway, I finally welcome you on board Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX, which is a 2x2 configuration in first class and a 3x3 configuration in economy. And I'm not gonna lie, just looking around the cabin, first impressions, I feel like we've taken a step down. Like, there's no entertainment screen, a super tiny pocket holder, and less legroom, with the knee room being 11 inches, shoulder room 17, and pitch 28 inches. So overall, for the price increase, this is a huge disappointment. And actually, the disappointment continues as we haven't left yet. We've been on the ground for over an hour, and supposedly they're going to provide us an update in a few minutes with the reason why, but we have no idea why we're still stuck on the ground.
We're just waiting to get our final numbers, and then we'll be pushing off the gate. I'm hopeful that that is within the next 15 to 20 minutes, but
Drink hard.
these days. So just bear with me, and I'll keep you in the loop.
Supposedly 15 or 20 more minutes. But anyway, as we finally take off going from Chicago to Seattle, I'm honestly a bit baffled by the food selection, as they offer way less snacks than most airlines of just the pretzels here, but with their food looking honestly incredible, with me going with the hot pulled pork sandwich with a bunch of cheese, and with Lucille going with a grain bowl that looks incredible. And with the taste, and I'm not exaggerating here, being probably the best bite I've had on any airline thus far. So I think I gotta go like 9 out of 10 for the food. So with Alaska Airlines definitely being the most up and down experience we've had thus far, which makes me absolutely terrified for them to experience the wrath of
The wheel of truth.
Okay, let's give this thing a spin. Oh man, and with them landing on the call button test, which as a reminder, I did during the Frontier flight, and they blew me away. So I'm super interested to see the difference between Frontier at level 1 and Alaska at level 7. So let's press this call button and see how fast they come.
Hi, could I get a cup of water?
Okay, Alaska Airlines, I don't even know what to say.
This was lightning fast.
So yeah, absolute roller coaster of a flight. This gets another 10 out of 10. So as we land in Seattle, JetBlue still has the lead. But anyway, in Seattle, I took Lucille to eat her first In-N-Out burger ever. But anyway, after a day of exploring, we're back at the airport for price level 8 of Delta, where our tickets cost $500. And okay, that pre-flight experience was potentially the best we've had yet.
So smooth. I am so happy after all the delays we had in the
my
last
gosh.
flight.
Yeah.
This feels like a vacation.
So anyway, let's get on board and see how this pretty massive price jump is different. And as we take off from Seattle going to Austin, Texas, I welcome you on Delta's A220-100, with being super sleek and being laid out in a 2x3 configuration, having of course a seatback screen TV, a large tray table, not one but 2 seat pockets, and also having an enormous amount of space, having 12 inches of knee room, 32 inches of pitch, and 22 inches of shoulder room, which are all the largest measurements we've had so far. So for comfort of the seat, this is definitely getting the highest grade yet of 9 out of 10. And although Delta is getting started off super well, they still have to experience the absolute wrath of the wheel of truth. Okay, let's give this thing a spin. Oh man, and just by a literal sliver, Delta landed on the hardest test of them all, of the 1-star review test. So with that said, Anne E says, although I've been a loyal customer of Delta, I am sad. The plane was downright dirty. My friend asked for a full can and the flight attendant just made a snooty remark. Also, she did not even give me a cup or any ice. I am sad. Dang, I'm honestly sad just reading that. Like that was rough. I'm pretty sure there was 4 things Anne referenced on there. So let's see if each one of these is true or false. So Anne's first claim is the plane is dirty. And honestly, looking around here, I gotta say, I think this is the cleanest plane we've been on thus far. So I gotta say, Anne, this is 100% false. But with the drink service beginning now, let's test these other 3.
I have a seltzer water.
Yeah, you bet. With ice, okay? Or
Yeah, that'd be great. And is it possible to have the full can?
it's a little tiny can. As a matter of fact, I was asking if you want another one.
Oh,
It's a long
thank
bite.
you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got not 1, but 2 cans here each.
I really like the service here. It feels like maybe this old school airplane experience where like you get a bunch of stuff, you have a really nice seat.
So I mean, for service, this is a 10 out of 10. And for the food offerings they have on board, this is the first time I'd say there's a full meal option, with us going with the absolutely stunning cheese plate here.
Maybe the best I've ever seen on an airplane.
And I think the largest chicken sandwich I've ever seen. Like, just look at all of that in there. And with the taste being, I think, the best food we've had during this entire video thus far. So as we land in Austin, Delta, you've surprised me, with them officially taking the lead over JetBlue. But anyway, in Austin, I took Lucille to eat some breakfast tacos, which I'm pretty sure we'll be making at home now. But anyway, after a day of exploring, we're back at the airport for price level number 9 of the most expensive economy class in America of American Airlines, where tickets go up to a whopping $1,000. And I know it's the most expensive airline, but that pre-flight experience was unbelievable. Like, the entire operation felt seamlessly efficient, with when our plane landed, the incredible ground staff being crazily fast with prepping the flights and putting the bags on board, and with everything else working as it should. So this is definitely a 10 out of 10. But anyway, welcome on board the oldest aircraft we've been on thus far of American's 20-year-old Boeing 737, which to finally be in the most expensive airline in America, I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a bit disappointed. Like, there's no TV with all entertainment being on your phone, similar to Southwest. The Wi-Fi being way more expensive than other airlines. The seat overall feeling a little bit cramped, with the knee room being 9 inches. Like, 9 inches is what Spirit Airlines was, with the pitch being a little bit more than those budget carriers at 30 inches, and with the shoulder room being about 19 inches. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm incredibly disappointed with what we have here for the price of this ticket. But maybe the food is where the luxurious element of this ticket is shown, with us of course getting a complimentary beverage and snack. And for the paying food, they only have 2 options, with having a turkey wrap, and then the second item are Tostitos and salsa, which I think is a great idea to have on a plane, but doesn't really exemplify that upscale top economy experience, but with the taste of the food being passable. So of course I would have liked to see more options compared to the other airlines, but I'd say this gets like a passable rating. However, I'm super interested to see how the most expensive airline in America fares with... Let's see what the Wheel of Truth has to say. The Wheel of Truth landed on the temperature test, which is rough because having taken off from Austin, this cabin, I'm not gonna lie, it's feeling pretty toasty right now. So anyway, I have my scientific temperature reader here, and let's see what the temperature is in this cabin. Oh man, and with American getting judged hard here at 82 degrees, which to be honest is just unacceptable for such an expensive plane ticket and what supposedly is one of the best airlines in America. So which is most worth it? Well, of course we had some good and bad experiences, but ultimately what I found is it's not the airline that you fly that matters, but more so where you're going and who you're traveling with. Now with that said, Delta wins top airline, but JetBlue was by far the most worth it. But anyway, thanks for coming along this incredible 2-week journey, and I'll see you guys next time.
Also, everybody comment below who feels the best for taking the middle seat for 9 flights.